He kind of took a special interest in me, it seemed like, after a few years.
A former Boy Scout says it's time for the organization to disband and start over.
He says he was sexually abused for more than a decade while in the Boy Scouts. 41 Action News investigator Andy Alcock shares his story.
It's hard to even put into words the amount of trauma that I've been through and the amount of counseling.
John Hobbs was just 11 years old and a new Boy Scout when he met Assistant Scoutmaster and medical resident Dr. Joe Mackey in 1996.
He kind of took a special interest in me, it seemed like, after a few years.
When he was 14, Hobbs says Mackey molested him during a fake medical study. And he says Mackey became his personal doctor, prescribed heavy-duty anti-anxiety drugs to John, and gave him hard alcohol. All Hobbs says so Mackey could repeatedly molest him.
Did you ever think during that time that what was happening was inappropriate?
You know, I didn't.
In 2017, Mackey pled guilty to one sodomy count for what he did to Hobbs and served just 4 months of a 5-year prison sentence. Hobbs is far from alone. After a lengthy investigation 7 years ago,
what's that moment like as a parent?
41 Action News and our parent company Scripps revealed accusations Boy Scouts of America, or BSA, leaders across the country molested at least 2,000 scouts between 1970 and 1991. And the same investigation found BSA leadership failed to report those accusations to law enforcement 72% of the time.
When a victim actually comes forward and presents a case or a claim, BSA attacks them.
Randy Rhodes is an attorney who says he's heard from at least 100 men who claim Boy Scout leaders molested them. Rhodes won huge multi-million-dollar judgments for John Hobbs and Danny Shore's claims of sex abuse by Scout leaders. Shore committed suicide 2 years ago, and Hobbs is in ongoing therapy. And neither Hobbs nor Shore's estate so far has collected any money from those judgments. In court filings, BSA claimed no liability.
Both cases that I had, they defended very aggressively and did everything they could to get out of the case.
BSA declined our request for an on-camera interview. However, in a written statement, it says in part, the Boy Scouts of America is working with experts and exploring all options available so we can live up to our social and moral responsibility to fairly compensate victims who suffered abuse during their time in scouting. One possibility BSA is considering is filing bankruptcy.
There may be a bright side to if there is a bankruptcy.
Rhodes says a bankruptcy could force BSA to compensate victims and to restructure. Hobbs has inside knowledge of BSA both as a scout and working for the organization as an adult. BSA statement says any changes to the organization would be done while also ensuring that we carry out our mission to serve youth, families, and local communities.
Do you think this organization is still salvageable? Do you think it can serve that mission in a positive way?
As it stands today, no.
BSA leaders say at this point, no decisions have been made about a possible restructuring. At BSA's Heart of America Council headquarters, I'm investigator Andy Alcock, 41 Action News.
The BSA says the organization has mandatory training for all volunteers, background checks. They've banned one-on-one interactions and even enacted mandatory reporting to law enforcement of inappropriate behavior. The Scouts also have a 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week helpline, all to access counseling and help needed to report problems.